Sorry I'm late, I just don't give a fuck.
Is that better?
Hey, yo. You rock with the best known unknown podcast on the internet. It's Late to Work, live now at episode 26.
Yep.
26, I believe it is. As always, it's your boy Money Mitch, a.k.a. Light Skin Leah, a.k.a. Mixed Skin Messiah, a.k.a. Daddy Longstroke, the motherfucking clitoris wrangler, a.k.a. the light skin lord of the flies, the dreadhead nigga in your lobby, a.k.a. at Mitch Gaines, where you can find me on one or more social media platforms. I'm here rocking with my right-hand man, the funniest man in Rhode Island. It's
only Chris Allen, the young OG, Sweet James Jones Jr., Ohio's finest, the Midwest, half Midwest best, wherever you find me at, y'all.
So we back here, obviously, episode 26, a week late. Go get your flu shots, kids, because that shit was disgusting. Mm-hmm. I don't wish that upon anyone, including Chris, so I did not come down here to record. And apparently, Chris's work ethic does not match my own, so he did not solo record this episode. Nah, I'm just fucking around. But yeah, that shit was deadly, for real. I advise everyone, go get whatever cures neurovirus and stock that shit in your fridge, because that shit was horrible.
Knock on wood, I haven't got the flu in at least 7 or 8 years.
Do you get flu shots?
No.
See, me. So I got a flu shot 1 year, like 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. I got the flu like 3 weeks later. Mm-hmm. I was like, fuck this flu shit. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a, fucking Babylon thing. Like, I'm not paying the white man for this bullshit. I'm being injected with diseases. This is wrong. And then every year, smart people tell me I'm supposed to go get a flu shot, and I don't get the flu. Yeah. And then this year I really got like the real fucking flu. And like the year I got it after the flu shot, it was like very subdued. I had like a 12-hour flu. This was like the full 36 hours.
Real
like,
thing.
Like my body hadn't been able to process food. I was just throwing up like full meals. It was disgusting. It was horrible. So now that you have that visual in your head, on to bigger and better things. Where do you want to start? Because I feel like major shit happened.
Should we start lighter and then move into the major shit? Or
let's do
the
that.
major shit.
Let's start with. So I just came from seeing Black Panther. I saw Black Panther after work today. So I have all sorts of feelings on Black Panther. I'm not using one of these buy into the hype guys. So let me start on that note. Is like, if you tell me I gotta go see something, very rarely am I going to see it. And if I am, usually I'm such a skeptic that it's not going to live up to the hype for me. Yeah. The one notable exception in recent memory, I would say, is maybe Get Out. Mm-hmm. Get Out was better than I anticipated because I became so skeptical before I saw it.
I was too. Well, here's the thing. Like, when Get Out came out, I sent it to all my friends, the trailers. I was like, yo, this looks dope. And they were like, oh, man, that looks like bullshit. That looks stupid. And then it made me be like, oh, man, what's wrong with me? Maybe it does look stupid. And then I was like, all right, well, I guess, like, people's opinion affected my shit. I was like, all right, well, maybe I'm not going to go see this right away. And then everyone raved about it. And I was like, man, I knew that was going to be good. Then I went and saw it. I was like, yeah.
See, my problem, I think, was like who was raving about it. Like and similar to Black Panther, like I hate more than anything, and maybe this is just the simpleton in me or my need to like be the smartest guy in the room or whatever. Mm-hmm. But nothing turns me off from like content in general. Mm-hmm. Like woke niggas trying to tell me I need to be woke about something. Mm-hmm. So like Get Out came out, I was like, it's a creative masterpiece, and Jordan Peele has a mind like no other, and if you don't like this movie, you just don't understand. And I was like, man, fuck you. Like I hadn't even seen the trailer yet, and I was like, man, fuck you. And then I went and saw the movie, I was like, yeah, if you don't like that movie, something wrong with you, dog. Like, you just don't get it.
Well,
you're a dumb nigga. Like, it's one of those movies.
I knew it was going to be a good movie because, like black people don't embrace, like,
shit.
Peele.
We don't know.
Key Peele. Like, they don't really give him love. So, for them, it would be easier for black people to hate on him just because of who he is than it would be to embrace him. So when black people was like, no, this is legit, I was like, all right, because they not gonna.
I don't mean to get too far from a tangent before we get into Black Panther, but I have to ask you, obviously, as our resident comedian on this podcast. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you heard, there was a Breakfast Club interview recently. I forget why dude's name can't come to me right now. He essentially said that Dave Chappelle was not funny to
Yeah,
niggas.
Who said that?
Faison Love, right?
Yeah.
All right, and so my question is like, I feel it kind of same thing about Jordan Peele. Like, I feel like quote unquote niggas don't fuck with Jordan Peele. You know what I mean? But my understanding of that was like niggas didn't fuck with Key and Peele because niggas felt like Key and Peele was trying to rip off Chappelle's show. So the idea that niggas don't fuck with Chappelle seems crazy to me.
Well, okay, yeah.
I thought that was the knock on Key and Peele.
No, well, I think Faison's a little bit off base.
Yeah, I think he way off base.
I think there's a portion of what he was saying is correct because like the black community did not embrace Dave Chappelle like, let's say, a Martin or like a Cat Williams, or even like Kevin Hart has crossover, but like still supported in both communities. Like, not really. Like, Dave really got hot because Dave had done all the legit, like, I mean, he's done the Def Comedy Jam, he's done all the BET and shit like that.
See, but I feel like that's just like Dave's style of comedy isn't that. Like,
it isn't that. It's evolved.
But also just like, I think there's white comedians who see the same problem, I guess is my point. It's like, there's guys who can go out and just be like the funny, like, live face on stage and then become a character who gets like good TV part, the Kevin Harts of the world, you know what I mean? But I think like guys like, you know, Andrew Schultz and Louis C.K. are never gonna, like, they'll never have that appeal. They'll be on TV shows, they'll write things. Yeah. Will they be like the star who's embraced by all the No, because their comedy's too provocative. And I think Dave's kind of in that same category. Like, you can't just throw on Dave and have a safe laugh.
You used to be like that until what broke Dave out was the Dave Chappelle, his sketch show. Yeah, so that's really, and then I think more black people started to know who Dave was and embrace him, understand him, and then it catapulted everything else he did. But but kind of like, I mean, when he was dropped I think it was Killing Me Softly, the other joint that he recorded in San Francisco, his special. Like, black people really wasn't like fucking with it. Like, there was a few, like, my friends would fuck with them.
There's a reason he recorded that in San Francisco.
Yeah, but the other one was recorded in D.C.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. I'm saying you went from D.C. to the Bay and went to San Francisco instead of Oakland.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? That tells a lot.
But
no disrespect, I love San Francisco.
I don't think that's you can just even say that's a black thing, or he just had.
No, I think that's like his audience is San Francisco's audience.
Exactly. So yeah. So he was right to a certain extent, but there's, I mean, those things. He wasn't. This is a multivariance like reason.
I guess I find it insane to say that now.
Oh, now he's completely off base.
That's what I mean. Like, just like everybody thinks Dave Chappelle's funny. If you don't, you're just kind of dumb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dave Chappelle's fucking funny, objectively. I don't care if you like what he talks about or not. I don't care if you like the phrases he uses or not. Dave Chappelle is motherfucking funny, and that's just a fact.
Yeah, I think Faison's a little bit off base because he's like, he is funny, and white people really embrace him more than they do some of the other black comics that you would say that's like maybe as funny as Dave. I don't see it. I think it's material too. It's a lot of different dynamics. You can't just say that people just have fucking with them. It's a lot of different dynamics.
So before we hop into Black Panther, let's start with other black content since we're already on comedy.
Yeah.
Chris Rock's special came out. Now, you talk about a guy who's on par with Dave Chappelle, supposedly, to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I use the word supposedly because he's bigger than Dave Chappelle.
Brand-wise, right, that special.
I felt like I watched that special, and I'm not saying it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
I'm saying I went into 2017, at the beginning of 2017, I am a comedy fan, but certainly not a comedy nerd, and certainly not a comedian professionally. Mm-hmm. My understanding was Chris Rock is, the best black comic of my generation. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm a little later than like the Martins of the world. So like when I came up, like if you talked about black comedy, Chris Rock was the name. Yeah. And you could not knock the name off the pedestal.
Yeah.
And Dave Chappelle has pretty much got there, but it's almost like a LeBron Mike thing, where like even LeBron fans just defer to Mike fans saying, "Nah, you're right," because it's the respectful thing to do.
Yeah. And
now you kind of looking at it like, dog, Dave Chappelle's funnier than Chris Rock.
Yeah. Yeah, right now. And
that's what I mean, just right now. In this time capsule we're in, where they both drop specials within like a couple months of each other, Dave Chappelle is funnier than Chris Rock.
Way funnier.
Way funnier.
And I've heard like,
Chris Rock felt a little out of touch to me in places.
He did, like some of the references to his punches and some of the tags were a little bit dated.
Wicked dated. What? Yo, I haven't listened to. Do you listen to Bodega Boys podcast?
No.
No. So part of the reason I do AKs is because they have 1,000 AKs, and they do like a wash segment in the AK. They just stay shouting out new wash niggas. They better be dropping Chris Rock's name because that nigga had like references that like I couldn't even touch back to. Yeah. I'm 27, dog. Yeah. If I don't remember it happening, nobody. Get that shit out of the set. It was bad. Boy. It was the like, Essence Festival, dog.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, it was
shit. Tag me with a vibe award at least.
Yeah, it was. Some of it was like, and like some of the artists and like some of the shit he was like naming, used as reference, was just like, come on, man. But here,
can I give you my last thing on it?
Yeah,
because this is the thing that really drove home the Dave Chris thing. Before we get into the rest of the special, Dave Chappelle opened his most recent special by pretty much walking on stage, putting his dick down in the middle of it and saying, I am amazing at comedy. Mm-hmm. Here's how I'm going to prove to you I'm amazing at comedy, and did his little punchline reverse thing there. Mm-hmm. Chris Rock on 3, maybe 4 separate occasions, if I remember correctly. I did take an edible before I watched that. Thank you. 3 or 4 different like jokes within that hour special pretty much makes the reference of, well, I'm Chris Rock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether he's talking about the moment in the courtroom, which like dope, like I'm salute. Like you made it, my guy. Like that's what's up. Like that was a funny fucking joke, don't get it wrong. But like between the shit with like the album, between I'm black from a mile away, but I'm Chris Rock from 2 feet away. Yeah. Like all these things are funny.
Yeah.
But they're worse attempts at like I'm the man.
Yeah. Exactly.
When I just saw the real man do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Dave Chappelle just came out and said, I'm that nigga. And then you came out and was like, nah, I'm that nigga. And everyone's like, nah, you're not, though. Like, you cool. Chris Rock's the man. Yeah. But you ain't Dave Chappelle.
Here's where I left my opinion on it. One, it felt like he needed to do his energy, his whole presence was different than his previous specials. Chris Rock is usually high energy, like
he looked high as shit.
I don't know.
I never got Botox done. His face was all stretched back, dog.
Yeah,
I don't know what that was the other thing. I was like,
I'm not gonna disrespect Chris Rock.
No, I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. But like, you're right. Like the faces, the energy, like that's part of his set, and it looked weird.
It did feel a little.
And maybe it was the lighting, the Bo Burnham direction.
Also, it just his energy was different, and I felt like he was touching on some real shit, from his divorce to dating to cheating, and
the porn addiction shit was dope to me. Actually.
Yeah, exactly. They were all dope, but I
also felt he left them all short.
Yeah, I just wanted, and from a genius like Chris Rock to be, like an extremely intelligent, insightful guy. I just wanted more, and maybe it's this thing where like, and this is the reason why Eddie doesn't. I'm assuming that Eddie doesn't do his stand-up special because he's not really competing as much as he is with these other artists like Kevin Hart or Chappelle. He's almost competing against who people expect him to be. So it would be very tough to reach that level. But I did want more from Chris Rock because I know how brilliant and talented he is, and I didn't get it. It felt like he was doing this because he got divorced and needed money and needed check. It didn't feel like he was doing it because he loved this fucking shit like he used to. And like one of the things,
I felt like he kept talking about how he did, and that's how you could tell he didn't.
Okay, quick reference. Like I just recently listened to this Rogan's podcast with this guy named what was the fuck is this guy's name? Something Duggins. 1 second while I pull this up. But like what he was talking about, and this guy's is like a black dude who was like 300 pounds, and then Dave Goggins. Listen to this podcast, and he was 300 pounds, and then he decided to quit his job and become a Navy SEAL. And he couldn't run a quarter mile, and then like he totally changed his life. And then like he was like,
wait, hold on.
Yeah,
he was 300 pounds, and he just said, "Fuck it, I'm going to become a Navy SEAL."
Yes, and he did.
What provoked him to choose that?
Because he was in the services before.
Okay, so at one point in his life, he was not a 300 pound like life hating at a desk job.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. You don't wake up at like 30 and do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
And so, so he got his whole life together. And then one of the things that he was saying is like, after he got the SEALs, he would go back and like be like go into the Rangers shit. like become a ranger, which is hard as fuck, just like becoming a SEAL. And he was saying like I felt myself getting civilized, and it's the worst thing that you can do is get civilized because you lose your edge and shit like that. And he took that from one of his inspirations was Rocky. He took that from Rocky. Like one thing Creed said when Rocky was going back to fight Clubber Lanes is like was that you became civilized. You lost that killer in you. And I feel like that's what happened to Chris Rock. He became civilized. It's hard to fucking go out there and fight with the killers and go out and hit mics when you waking up on satin sheets and you.
I'll tell you what though, and that, in my opinion, I've always found the very best comics to be like hilariously civilized.
Yeah.
Like the funniest part about Dave Chappelle is that Dave Chappelle is perfectly in pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he just seems like. Yeah, you know what? He does wake up on satin sheets, and he still does go down to the courthouse.
But there's the thing about Dave. Dave still has something to prove because Dave gave away $50 million. He's not sitting like fair. Chris has hundreds of millions of dollars. Probably cut and then lived that life, and then like didn't cut it in half with the divorce and came back because of that. Dave still had a chip because he gave away $50 million.
You're right, Dave ain't Martin.
And I'm sure they told him, hey, fuck you, you turn this down, you'll never be shit.
Yeah,
and you'll never get this
town again.
Yeah, exactly. So he had it. Dave still has a chip. Chris, I don't know if he has that chip anymore.
Don't look like it.
It doesn't look like it. It doesn't feel like it.
Also, I ain't gonna lie, man, like some of his stuff on relationships, I heard that was kind of the saving grace of this special coming into it. It's only been out, 2 weeks? I can't believe how much I already heard.
1 week came out on Valentine's Day.
I've heard so much about this already from other people. But like going into it, like people said like the relationship stuff was supposed to kind of save the special.
Yeah.
I found a lot of that shit not just not funny, but tone deaf. No, I'm not saying like in like an offensive way. I just mean like it just felt flat. Like a lot of it was just like, yeah, I cheated, but I only fucked 3 different bitches. Like, real niggas know if you was me, I was being faithful. Yeah. And it's like, okay, if you was a real nigga, then you have just explain that shit to your wife and you wouldn't be getting divorced.
Yeah.
But real niggas know how to play the tambourine, bitch. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think, even if that was his perspective, I mean, he could have came into it with that perspective and still
been funnier than that.
Been funnier and got more in depth. It like really dug deep into this in order for us because there is. I mean, that's
how did you end up with those 3 women?
Exactly. Who were these?
Yeah. Like, how did we get here? That you got 3 women in 3 different parts of the country.
Yeah, exactly. And with this an ongoing thing.
Yeah, and like there's so much to go there.
Yeah, exactly.
And instead, what do we get?
Yeah, we get questions and we get.
You married Chris Rock?
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, it's hard to judge people as other comedians because it is very hard to get on that stage and do,
especially at that level.
Yeah, and even with, I mean, he's still in the top percentile of funny motherfuckers. Let's not get that wrong. Like we're criticizing.
I'm not judging Chris Rock against Chris DiStefano.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm judging Chris Rock against Chris Rock. That's not a knock at Chris DiStefano, who I find very funny. Yeah. But like Chris Rock is in another category.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
He's in the like Martin category. He's in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and to put it like this, as far as like the specials that have been recently released from like Tom Segura's.
I like Tom Segura a lot. I haven't seen his
Tom Segura's was better than Chris's. Both of Chappelle's was better
than Chris's. You see
Hassan's
last year? Homecoming King? Or Hometown Hero, whatever those called?
I have not.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. And there's a bit, and it's like there's a lot of comedians that drop stuff that was like
It was a good year for comedy.
Yeah,
past year. Past 18 months, past 2 years.
They say this is like the golden years of comedy.
Why do you think I won't come out and hit mics with you, dog?
Dude,
there's more dope comedians than there's ever been before. I'm not that funny. I'm just an asshole.
No, I think that there's more attention on comedy, but there's still like if you can offer something different than what's out there, and there's a lot of people trying to be funny there's not a lot of people who are like trying to be more than funny, and I think that like if you can be that, then you are already have something great.
I agree with you. I also think there's a danger in raising an entire generation who believes that not only are they funny, which most people aren't, that they're more than funny, which most people definitely aren't.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have a lot of people trying to be who aren't.
Yeah, well, a lot of people won't. Well, a lot of people won't even try to be more. Like, I don't like some things. It's not enough just to be funny. Like, if for me, it's like okay, it can be funny, but like I want there to be like an underlining meaning to it. Like, I don't want to just like anyone can just make some funny shit up, but if it's like you're just going out there writing for the thirst of laughter, then that's like fuck. Like you.
It's funny you say it because a lot of like quote unquote comedian purists or whatever like say that like you should only write for the funny. Like I'm only here for the laughs. I don't whatever gets the laugh is getting the laugh. Like I don't care about the agreement. I don't care about the messaging. I care about the laughter. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah,
like I think if you care about writing good comedy, it's got to be about this. It's either going to be about the message or the story you're telling.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like a great people hate on like storytelling comedy, and I don't understand why. Because to me, like that's how good comedy was always told for literally the entirety of humankind.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that's how we first started making people laugh.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, I don't agree with that because I think it's easy to get lost in whatever you're doing if you're almost like a prostitute for the laugh. It's because then you start like whatever brings the laugh is what you'll do, and like especially for black people, it's easy to end up being like
shucking and jiving.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do some shit that like challenges your thinking, and then it's funny. You know?
You want to talk about a comedian who doesn't ever challenge my thinking and is very much a shuck and jive comedian and looked motherfucking horrible this weekend?
Who's that?
Kevin Hart.
Really?
The fuck was he doing at All-Star Weekend, bro?
I didn't even see.
He did like the player intros, and it was just like this awkwardly long, like 13.5-minute set of no funny jokes and like half-assed roasts of players.
I missed
which,
that.
like, also Kate Hart used to be the guy who like knew all the players. I feel like, and like I feel like some of the younger dudes, like he wants to like. It's kind of like when Drake shows up and always wants to be everybody's best friend. Kevin Hart just looked like a shorter Drake. Yeah, he's out here like, oh, and it's like, nigga, I don't know you. What are you talking about me for? Yeah. And between that and the Super Bowl, it's like. Kevin Hart looks bad right now, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
I know you love Kevin Hart. You love to defend Kevin Hart, so I wanted to bring this too because I know we wanted to talk All Star anyway.
I'm gonna. I like to defend comedians, but it's easy to look when you have that much light on you. It's easy to take a couple L's.
I agree, but I say this. With all my heart, I wish the best for Kevin Hart. I hope he has a long and fun and hilarious career. When you bring that much light on yourself, you deserve the L's when you take them. Because Kevin Hart, if you talk about a prostitute for the laugh, Kevin Hart will do anything to make you laugh. And I think that's what makes him a marvelous comedian. But I also think when you're willing to just put your ass out there for like all the time in every way possible to make people chuckle or to associate your name with a good brand, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like Kevin Hart is a very smart guy, very savvy guy. He tries to get himself everywhere possible so that his star is as big as it needs to be to do the things he wants to do. I just think what that comes up with is a certain amount of sellout that nowadays we stop shitting on people for.
Yeah.
Like 20 years ago, you got made fun of for selling out like that. We just accept that's the way it is in the internet age. But nigga, when you sell out that hard, you get asked out this hard. And like, that's fine. I'm here to crack jokes on you when you look bad because I hate when niggas try to do like the infallible thing.
Yeah, that's my...
Maybe I'm just a jerk. I don't know.
No, that is my one critique, from the sideline. Armchair quarterback, and because I respect what he's done and I respect... the achievements, the sacrifice he's put out there. But I would love to see him take more risk and not do so much PC shit.
But exactly, that's what I mean.
Like, dude, just go out there. Like, at this point, like, once you reach a certain level, like, you have the flexibility to go out there and take some risks to do some real shit. And, like, do some fucking real shit, dude.
So here's my question. I don't want to put you in the hot seat because I know you want to defend all comedians in all situations. Is he funny? I shouldn't say funny enough to do that. Does he have that kind of comedic range, or is that kind of comedy just his lane? Which there's nothing wrong with that. There's lots of great comedians. Like Not that I'm putting Kevin Hart on quite that level, but you could say the same thing about Seinfeld.
Yeah,
Seinfeld
exactly.
made comedy about nothing that was absolutely PC and absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of range Kevin Hart. Because I haven't seen him, put like I don't know. I haven't seen it if he does have it.
That's what I agree.
And I assume he does have more because he's like a smart, insightful dude. Even when you listen to some of his interview, he's reaching down and he can explain some of these from multi levels.
Soulful guy.
Yeah, exactly. So I assume he does see this, and I assume he's making these moves strategically to become the biggest, actor, media mogul as possible.
He's a slash guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, he wants to be plus everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is cool. That's a risky line. It's not what I would want to do.
It's not what I would want to do. I'd rather be the guy that's like gets in trouble and says some shit and like says fuck off.
Put it this way, I'd rather be in the position for when I am 50 and I have to admit to the world that I have a porn addiction and that porn addiction has led me to watch weirdly hyper-specific things on the internet, that I'm in Chris Rock's shoes and can say that as a joke and it'd be funny. Yeah. And I'm not in Kevin Hart's shoes where I have to say that on an Instagram video and bare my soul to the world.
Yeah. Dude, I fucking like, I and this is like, dude, like I'm trying to shout out to fucking Chris Rock. Like I'm gonna like try and cut out the porn.
Yo, I said the second it happened, I'll pause it. I turned to my girlfriend. One of the things we cover on this podcast, relationships, real shit. Like that was one of the realer moments in comedy in a long time. Like most niggas I know have that problem.
Yeah, dude. And I was
you all jerk off one way to 1 to 3 categories of porn.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. Myself included. That's fucking weird. Dude. If you have a go-to search term, that's fucking weird.
Yeah, it is.
If you have a favorite porn site, that's fucking weird.
It is.
You shouldn't be watching that on porn.
I know, dude. And I thought I heard Tim Ferriss did a podcast with Terry Crews, and Terry Crews is another guy who's like been advocate or not. He's been very open about like his abuse of porn. He's like, I just had to stop it. It's affecting the way I was treating women or looking at people and so forth like that. And like, I don't think it's affecting me, but I don't know. So I'd rather be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go without it for a while.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I know, like, because I've quit various times in my life. We're coming up on Lent here. We're during Lent now, guys. I gave up porn for Lent a couple of years ago. Bro, it was eye opening. I had watched Don John. It was whatever year that had come out. I watched Don John like a week before Lent, and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm giving up porn for Lent."
Yeah,
and it is like, it's night and day.
Yeah,
you're way better in bed because all of a sudden instead of hitting like the one move you're used to, you hit like 90. Like, I don't know. There was a lot of perks to it. I felt better. Like I wasted way less time in my day. The realest shit about that whole shit he said, and I hate to admit this as a dude, as myself, whatever, on the internet, right? Yeah. I'm 15 minutes late to everything is the realest shit I'd ever heard. Cause like, why not? I can squeeze one in. Yeah. And like that's how you start thinking about sex. And it's like, like one of two things happens. Either you start looking at women in real sex, or I shouldn't say women. You start looking at however you like to get off. Whoever you're familiar with. Like disposably. Or you start looking at like sex as like non-essential because I can just jerk off. Yeah. And that's horrible for all parties involved. Yeah. Like you're never going to be a healthy, full-fledged human thinking those things.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
and I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much it's affecting me, but I'm sure it is affecting me, and I want to find out how I
want to know what's the healthy amount of porn, because I don't think porn is in and of itself is like a dangerous thing. You know what I mean?
Should go cold turkey.
I'm going cold turkey.
I am too.
I'm out for at least like a week or two.
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna do. What's the thing? I think they say like once 30 days you break a habit. Is it 30 or 60? I'm gonna do like I'm gonna research it, and so whatever like the break a habit is it 30 or 60 days. I'm gonna do that amount of time and see.
Just quit for Lent, bro. It's like 30 days, 40 days.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe it is.
I quit something else for Lent, but I can't talk about it on the podcast because my mom listens to this, and I can't let her know.
I'm cool. Dude, I'm in like a transitional period in my life where like especially listening to that Rogan podcast too. That helped me a lot. Like I'm on this intermittent fasting thing that I've been doing for a couple, like almost like 2 or 3 weeks now, and then so that is like I go 16 hours of fasting. I go and 8 hours of eating. So like.
Part of the fast is while you're asleep, though, right?
Yeah, part of the fast.
I just making sure. I was
Yeah.
wild.
So pretty much, like, I'll stop eating. Like, I'll probably eat after we're done with this. So I'll eat at like 8 o'clock, and I won't eat again until like noontime tomorrow. So and then like I'll have that window of like eating, and I won't even get hungry now. Like, and so like I'm doing that.
What time do you go to bed? Like 10, 11?
1 o'clock if I'm lucky.
Jesus, so you don't eat for 5 hours before bed?
Yeah.
Oh my God, how do you sleep?
Dude, okay, so your body gets used to it, so you don't really get hungry after that. And your body's like kind of goes into mode where it's like starts to burn fat instead of whatever you eat, carbohydrates or whatever. And like if I do get like hungry, like I'll just do like just like a tea or something like that. You can do tea and shit like that, and you're Gucci, or like coffee.
For our listeners at home, I like to point out when we started this podcast, Chris was the fat one, and I was the one who looked like a Hollister model. I don't know what the fuck happened here.
I'm dude, I'm fucking like I'm gonna be by. I want to say May. I want to get my abs back. Like I had abs, like killer, dude. But I'm getting them back, and I'm in my Clubber Lane mode. So like you'll see. I'll give you guys keep you posted.
Michael B. Jordan is dead in Black Panther, so we had to recast him for Creed 2.
Dude, I'm going for Creed. I'm gonna be the bad guy in Creed.
Dark skin versus light skin. Creed 2.
And I'm going for the bad guy in Black Panther. No, and also, dude, I've been meditating. And shit like that. Like,
so yeah, I'm actually like the mindfulness shit. Yeah. Every time I go on like stretches of that, like I've never been back on my shit like I like to be. But really, even just taking like 5, 10, 15 minutes out of your day to like recenter yourself, you'd be amazed what that will do for your life. And I'm not trying to like preach to our listenership or anything, but really, like take 3 minutes out of your day, focus on your breathing, and don't pay attention to the rest of the world. Yeah, it's legit. Yeah. And it's like one of those things that help you break all those bad habits you're giving up for Lent. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things like we said about porn. It's like I don't know how not doing this is affecting me, but I'm gonna see how it helps if it does. So like so far it's been good, man. I'm gonna keep it up until I find an alternative or evolves to something else. But like plan is a change for life. Progression.
This nigga being better than me and shit.
I'm just trying to move forward, man. I'm the young OG, man. I gotta get shit in order.
Oh, well, apparently we're giving up porn, cigarettes, giving up porn, giving up cigarettes, taking on meditation, giving up food for 16 hours a day. Yeah. That's the goal? That's where we're at?
That's the goal.
All right. What else want to get into? I feel like we're 30 minutes in. We didn't even hit most of the shit we want to talk about this week.
Yeah.
Briefly, Fergie, did you see this?
Yeah, Fergie took an L. I think she was just...
We need like an L of the week or some shit, because there's so many people taking L's.
She took an L. I don't know what she was doing. I don't know. I think she was trying to put some soul on...
Somebody said it was supposed to be sung Marilyn Monroe style.
Oh, yeah. She should just sing the regular style.
Yeah, I just, when you hear the name Fergie, does Marilyn Monroe ever come to mind?
No, I don't even.
Has that ever happened for you?
I don't even think of Fergie as like a great singer.
Do you think of Fergie as a person? Do you hear Fergie and even think of Fergie as somebody who's still currently relevant in the world?
No, not really.
Or ever was outside of Black Eyed Peas?
No, she had a moment. She had a run.
I remember London Bridge. I remember the moment.
She had a run.
Bootylicious?
Yeah. She was hot for
Fergalicious, sorry. Bootylicious Beyonce. Jesus.
But no, I don't know how they even like got who got that. They could
in LA. You mean to tell me in all of Los Angeles we couldn't find a different person to sing the anthem?
You couldn't get Jasmine Sullivan. Jasmine Sullivan will rock that shit.
You know what happened, right? It was a split bid for LA between the Lakers and the Clippers. Mm-hmm. Lakers said, we'll take care of everything. Just turn the Clippers like, y'all just get somebody for the national anthem, right? Yeah. And clearly that was a Clippers hire. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Hating the Clippers.
Hey, man, I'm a Clippers fan. That was horrible.
Yeah, she took an L.
All right. Black Panther or Dead Children? We got 30 minutes. Your call.
We can go over let's go through the shooting and then let's briefly.
And then we'll be happy at the end.
Yeah, we'll be happy at the end.
Because spoiler alert to nobody, everybody on this podcast fucking loves Black Panther. All right, Florida, man. Shit. Where do you want to start?
Well, okay. So everyone who's listening to this, let you on the rock realize that there was another school shooting in Florida by a man, because people keep calling him a kid just because he shot up a school. This guy was 19 years old, and Nicholas Cruz went into school and shot 17.
Yeah, well, he killed 17. I think it was 25 more wounded. Might have been more than that.
Yeah. It's probably more than that. Yeah, I think they said 50 wounded.
Jesus.
And here we are again. I mean, this is it's sad when you hear this where you're not like, holy shit. You're just like, again?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's almost, as Charlemagne said it, it's like almost as American as apple pie. Because this is like the 18th shooting of this year, school shooting of this year.
Which I should clear up because I got in a very large Twitter argument with far-right Twitter, as I tend to do in my spare time, about those 18 school shootings. Out of those 18, only like 4 were actual, what I would call it, like a mass, like multiple casualty shooting. Mm-hmm. The rest were more, firearms in schools, accidental discharge. Like one was a cop's gun went off in a school. It's not the vague statistic, but I don't know about you. 18 times a gun went off in a school in America in 45 days. I don't really care the circumstances.
Exactly. There's a problem.
That really just bolsters it's really a gun problem conversation, because let's say out of those 18, only 4 were even intentional, right? Mm-hmm. That means, 16 other times or 12 other times, guns just go off in schools now? Yeah. I don't think more guns is the answer then. And maybe that's just me.
And if you have a child that's going in that school, do you say, those are accidental shootings. Yeah.
Well, the cop's gun accidentally went off and killed a 3rd grader. No big deal.
Yeah. I feel, but
he didn't mean to kill the baby.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I mean, we're at this. It just feels like we're just like going through the whole cycle again. Like, what do you feel is different in this time? I feel like this is another school shooting. The right will say one thing, the left will say one thing. Nothing will happen until and we'll just sit back and wait for another mass killing.
I will tell you exactly what and this is I have many, many notes on this, but this is something I definitely want to get into. I do want to address your man versus kid debate, because I very firmly believe he's a kid. And I'll explain that in a second.
Okay.
But you ask what is different. And the thing I will say I find very different about this shooting from all of them previous. I remember in college, my freshman or sophomore year of college, I took a class on school violence. Mm-hmm. And I left that class dreading really, this isn't going to stop. Like, you could tell, like, there's just the trend at that point. That was 2008, 2009. Mm-hmm. And the trends at that point were already very clear that here was where we were going to end up, and it's going to get worse. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how quickly that's going to change. Mm-hmm. Something I would find very different about this particular instance is the kids. Mm-hmm. The survivors, the friends, the neighbors, the families. Mm-hmm. The kids are very vocal. Not the parents, not the teachers, not the cops who responded, not the kids.
Yeah.
And I think
shout out to the kids, man.
Shout out to every one of these kids. Honestly,
they're getting after it.
Let me pull up a couple, because shout out to my dear friend Erica, as told by Erica with a K. If you want to follow her on Twitter, she's dope. She was like retweeting a bunch of these kids' tweets like in the immediate aftermath of the shooting, and I wasn't fucking hip or young enough anymore to go following fucking 16-year-olds from Florida. Yeah. But people have fucking internet friends these days, so like she knew some people down there. And I've been just like pulling, tweet after tweet after tweet, and like following these kids as they came in. And some of these kids are just fucking, I am a little rattled by their composure. It almost seems like media trained on some level, you know what I mean? But it is, I guess, really like nice to see that we know now that this is happening.
Yeah.
There's like a network of survivors. There's other kids who've grown up. You know what I mean? Think about those Columbine kids, right?
Yeah.
That was 1999. That was 18 years ago.
Yeah.
19 years ago. It's like those kids are all fucking like fully grown adults.
Yeah, exactly.
And so some of those kids have support groups now and like outreach programs that when this shit happens, they know how to get these kids together and make sure that they're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself is a beautiful thing, but I think these kids are gonna mobilize in a way we haven't seen before. And that's what I think or hope will be different. I know there's a march planned on Washington that's going to be a march of survivors of school violence.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really startling to see how large that is.
Yeah, it will be. How did they release any like numbers?
No, I think they just put the date on for I think it's March 14th. I believe that they've been changing the date a couple. So it's going to be a nationwide. And I know this is in its early stages, so I'm sure many things will change between now and then. But so the plan, I believe, is there's going to be a nationwide walkout on high school campuses, coupled with a march on Washington of high school survivors, survivors of school violence.
Yeah. Wow.
Which I don't know if that'll do anything.
No, I don't think so.
I
don't think so.
But I think it's different.
Don't have lobbyists, and the NRA does.
Yes, however, I would argue teenagers may be everybody in politics knows, your target demo has to be whatever your established base is, plus whoever is turning 18 in the next election. You know what I mean? Like, Democrats have been winning on kids turning 18 for 40 years. You know what I mean? So, if you're turning, it's clear this generation who's 16 to 18 now is pretty anti-gun across the country.
Yeah.
Not 100%, but I'd say, 80-20. I think that's scaring people in politics a little bit, knowing more of that's coming.
Yeah, I mean...
A very vocal version of that.
Yeah, I still think you still have to factor in the baby boomer because it's a large population, and
they're dying. They're dying. Millennials are growing. That's my point.
Yeah, and so
every year we get a couple 100 million more, and they get a couple 100 million less.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think that politicians will do some kind of finesse move to make some smoky mirrors look like they're making a gesture, and it's not really. It doesn't affect the NRA. It doesn't affect gun sales. It doesn't make anything. It doesn't get one more gun off the street.
So you think there will be some sort of gesture, but nothing of consequence?
Yep.
What do you? 100%. Any ideas on what the gesture may be?
They'll put some kind of law in place or something, and there will be another loophole. They can get ARs if they'll be like, oh, well, now we're gonna do highly scrutinized background checks, and it's gonna be like loophole, and it's not gonna change anything. That's what the United States is. It's promises and fucking finesse.
I have a million questions on gun control. So do you want to get into gun control next, or are there other things you want to get? Because I have many things about this I want to get into.
No, we can go straight into... yeah.
Okay. So what is... I don't know if it's weird, because I have some... many of my gun points come from, hardcore gun people. A lot of ex-military people, a lot of rural people, a lot of people on literally Ku Klux Klan Twitter, who I get into it with on a routine basis. Shout out to Trusted Trev. You know what I mean? So I understand that everybody feels differently about guns. I'm trying to come to what I pride myself on being a centrist. We talk about being the middle ground on this show a lot. What is quote unquote common sense gun reform to you? What shouldn't we need to even debate over?
I mean, it should,
because universal background checks to me seem I don't understand the argument.
Yeah, that should be blank. It should be. You know how it's how hard it is for to get a gun. It's easier to get a marijuana. It's easier to get an AR-15 than it is to get a marijuana license.
And so I guess here's the thing: the argument is it's very nuanced, and I truly believe people on the left don't understand enough about guns to make half the arguments they make, myself included in that. I'm not a gun guy. I say that as somebody who lives in Massachusetts, where it's very hard to get guns.
Yeah.
A very good friend of mine who is a very big fan of guns, owns many guns, is a collector of weaponry, said in one of his posts and in conversations with him, we need to just get everybody else on the Massachusetts standard. In Massachusetts, you can own all the guns you want to. You can keep them safely and legally. If you are trained properly, you can get every classification of gun there is.
Yeah.
We know who has all the guns.
Yeah.
All of them are registered. And by and large, there's less gun violence here than other places.
Yeah, and I think we might have mentioned this in an earlier podcast. It should at least be like getting the driver's license, owning guns.
Yes.
Like at least that highly scrutinized till we know who has a gun, who's registered, everything has a license, everything is like
There's different classes for different types of guns.
Exactly.
Just because you know how to operate a handgun doesn't mean you get to buy like
an AR
or sniper rifle or whatever.
That should be like driving a semi truck.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are different things.
Exactly. Yeah. And at least let's get to that point.
Why do people object to that? Because that's the part I don't get.
Well, I can't speak for NRA, but I just from like listening to like other podcasts where their side has been argued, they feel like it's once you start giving up a little, they don't want to give up anything, because once you crack that window open, they feel like it's a
slippery slope.
Yeah, exactly,
theory.
and the government's gonna shut down. That's from my, and I don't know. We would have to speak.
But here's my question on that. Always is like, I get that if you start talking, say, background checks, right? Well, me and you just out here nodding in agreement. Universal background checks. I think most of our listeners probably agree with universal background checks as an idea, right?
Yeah.
Here's the question, right? What does a background check entail? Does a background check entail anyone with a domestic abuse charge?
Yeah, it should be domestic abuse
Charge or conviction?
There should be a conviction. There should be like another level. If you've been charged, there should be another level of like, okay, well, let's
like a watch list.
Yeah.
Or what about mental health then?
Mental health should definitely be in there. It should be like
on what level though? If you have an active diagnosis, can you own a gun?
There should be
which diagnoses?
And I'm not like a psychologist or whatever, but like I feel like there should be like something. There should be like another. Oh, okay. Well, like it should be something more scrutinized when it's like, because let's say if I was diagnosed, I would like, in order to I like if I was diagnosed as, let's say, schizophrenic, and I was like, okay, well, like I don't want to be judged based on my diagnosis, but I do want something like if I have an episode or something, I would prefer like to be questioned before I do something that may harm other people or I meant myself before, you know. And
that's all well and good, but I think the argument then in reverse is like, so say I'm diagnosed as bipolar, right? Uh-huh. You say I can't have a gun because I'm bipolar. So now I lose the right to own a weapon to defend myself because of a diagnosis with no history of violence.
Well, no, I'm not saying that you lose your right to have a gun, but I feel like there should be like some more scrutiny to like at least something like there should be like a more of a buffer period. Do you not? Do you disagree?
Oh, and like the purchasing?
Yeah.
So sure, yeah. I there's a lot of things I feel about that. Yeah. But I'm saying as far as like the right to own
it shouldn't be
gun,
like no. It shouldn't be like they can't own a gun, they can't protect themselves. But there should be like some scrutiny.
Oh, sure, but I think there should be that scrutiny with everyone.
I agree.
Name me one situation in which you should be purchasing a gun that you need a gun right now.
None. Zero.
None. It literally does not exist.
Unless I want to shoot my wife.
Yeah, right. Unless you were actively trying to kill somebody, or you're at like a sporting range and forgot your rifle at home and need to buy one in the pro shop.
And like, hey, you irresponsible. You don't need to shoot today.
Like, dog, if you go to the golf course and you forgot your clubs, like, what, you playing with somebody else's clubs? No, you're going home, dog. Yeah. Like, you can rent clubs, I guess. You know what I mean? But I ain't letting you go home with the rentals.
You're not responsible enough to bring your gun. And you forgot your gun, you don't need a gun. So
you
sit this one out, buddy.
To me, that's the bare bones of common sense gun reform. Yeah. Is every gun comes with a waiting period. Mm-hmm. There is no such thing as a same day gun sale. No. That is fucking insane. Yeah. Period. Full stop.
And then like it should be like if you had to be 21 to be able to drink.
Yes.
21 to get a gun.
Agreed. I have friends who would argue that it should just be 18 to drink then. I don't actually think that's wrong either. Just pick one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it should be at least.
I think if you can vote and you can... I think if you can vote and you can go to war, then you should be able to drink and have a gun. So, like, we can either move all of that to 21 or all of that to 18. I think the separation's dumb.
Yeah, exactly. I 100% agree with that.
I personally,
at very least, let's move the guns to 21.
You want my personal wild fucking crazy idea? Yeah. I think we should move all of it to 21 and move voting to 16. You know what I mean? I think the youth aren't well represented at all in politics, and I think they deserve a voice that actually goes to bat for them, other than the adults telling them what to do in the room. I think if you took the senior members of the youth class and gave them,
I'm not letting them vote.
Fair. I don't think anyone else is. Me too. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's a great idea, but I think they've earned it. Put it that way. I'll leave that alone. Other things on this you want to touch on, gun reform wise?
I feel all right. Just on that, I feel like they should start voting. I don't know if it should count towards completely. Yeah. So
3/5.
Yeah. I feel
like they used to do us.
Yeah, I think they should like get in the process and so forth, and there should be something. At a younger
higher
age,
youth involvement of politics. I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
That is that's just my wild conspiracy.
What were you saying though?
As far as gun control goes, I gotta say, like, there's that sect of like the liberal mainstream that like immediately just shouts like gun reform now and take all the guns and why do we need guns? And I truly, like, through speaking with more and more of my friends and like understanding somewhat of gun culture, I find that to be ignorant, honestly. I think the ways in which people call for things they don't understand well. Yeah. I think one thing the left needs to get better at is like, what is common sense gun reform? And I'm glad that's part of our conversation today. Yeah. And also like, what can we table for now and understand is reasonable to table? Mm-hmm. Like the assault rifle ban, I'm on board with. I agree with. Yeah. I don't think the assault rifle ban by itself, without an implementation of some sort of registry like we talked about, without the implementation of some sort of like stricter background checks coupled with like a delay window at purchase, like I don't think that does anything. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think some of those just like get that off the table for now. Mm-hmm. Like stop annoying people whose votes you're gonna need, and we can talk about that in 10 years. Yeah, you know what I mean? Let's like maybe stop. Do something to reduce the violence now.
And another thing, and like I'm not left wing enough to be one of those people like, oh, everyone get rid of all these guns. Like I don't believe that you should be telling adults what they should be doing. I think there is a lot of good people out there who are gun owners and have a shit ton of guns, and they may have a tank and they haven't harmed anything. I do think that there should be other things involved in this. It's just change besides just gun reform. Troubled kids need an outlet. And this kid adults, we can get into that. But I mean, he was whatever signs. There was signs.
This is the thing I can't stress enough. Is like, so to your point, I think this is the one thing I really, really, really want to drive home with people. Every person I've spoken to in education says the same thing after every school shooting. We don't want more guns in schools. Like, teachers don't want to be armed. Yeah. Every teacher I've spoken to ever in history does not want to have a gun in the classroom. The other thing about it, though, is that there simply aren't resources for these kids in schools. And everyone under 17 years old spends most of their day in school, most of the year in school. In most high schools, you have 2, 3, maybe in a bigger high school, 4 or 5 guidance counselors or like a school resource officer for like, we're talking 1,000 to 3,000 kids. So you got 5 counselors, 2,500 kids. It's 500 kids a counselor.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
500 kids.
Yes, some things fall through the cracks.
You're in school 180 days, right? It's like, if you could you would need to somehow pin down every kid that you're responsible for in the school to meet with twice a year. Yeah. And that would fill your schedule. Yeah. how the hell would you stay on top of where kids are actually at?
Yeah.
That's impossible.
It's impossible.
And then we put our hands up and be like, well,
I don't know what happened. Everything we no one knew. No one knew.
But we should just arm teachers.
Yeah.
Because buying a bunch of Glock 9s is cheaper than hiring guidance counselors. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, that makes zero sense.
Exactly.
So that's I think that's really where this needs to start. We're talking like real ways to address the problem, not just the guns. I think that's the biggest thing that can be done.
Yeah.
The other thing being, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
I was going to say the other thing being, to your point, when these things get reported by the people who are these resource counselors, guidance officers, whatever, we have to do something with that, right?
Yeah.
Like this kid was reported by multiple teachers, by guidance counselors, by vice principals, by principals, was expelled from school, was suspended allowed back into school, wasn't allowed to carry a backpack to school, was on a fucking watch list by the FBI.
Yeah.
How, to your point about the man-kid debate, right?
Yeah.
This kid was a problem since he was a kid, for sure.
Yeah.
He had a very fucked up family, very troubled situation in general, cried out for help in every possible way.
Yeah.
It never got it and turned into a fucking crazy adult. You know what I mean? That being said, how does he get a gun?
100%. That was and like, you're on the FBI watch list. That should be something. There should be a register system. Hey, he's on the FBI watch list. When he goes in that gun store, there should be a red light. Hey, FBI watch list.
So I'd watched something a couple days ago. Somebody had shared with me. It was Obama at a town hall a couple years ago. This guy pretty much asked him, why do you want to take all our guns? Blah blah blah. Points to Chicago as an example of strict gun laws. Blah, blah blah. And one of the things Obama said in his response, I won't give you the whole thing. It was like 12 minutes. But one of the things he said in his response was, the NRA has lobbied so strongly and we can't study guns. Like the CDC, Congress won't let the CDC study guns. You know what I mean?
Wow.
We literally have people that we put on a TSA watch list. All these gun people are big, like get the immigrants out of here. ISIS is coming to take the country, right? People we have on terrorist watch lists, on no-fly lists, on known ISIS supporters lists, are allowed to buy guns because we can't pass any legislation to prevent them.
Wow.
If you're on an FBI watch list, if you're on a TSA watch list, personally, I don't agree with banning those people from getting guns. Because I think that's a slippery slope towards you banning lots of revolutionaries and whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? However, if you're on the side of the government is right and the FBI's are the good guys, how are you not passing that?
Yeah, exactly. And like maybe you don't ban them from not getting guns, but they walk in the store like, let me get an AR-15. A little like there should be something that pops up. Oh, FBI watch list. Like, all right, well, like, yeah, we're gonna register you, but you have to come back in 72 hours to pick this up.
And to our point about that idea,
you report that to the FBI. You report that to the police. Maybe you sell them the gun, but.
Sorry. Here's the thing though, is like if that's on every sale already, he comes in and you don't even have to have that exchange with him.
Yeah.
Say yes sir, not a problem, cool, like see you in a couple days, pick up the gun, right? It flags in the system and the FBI comes and fucking, sends a cop to his door and is like, hey, like, what are you getting the gun for? And at the very least, there's like some checks and balances on that system.
Yeah.
I'm sure some people will lie and get guns anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure violence will continue. I'm also sure that rate will go down.
Exactly. And at least have someone, like, if this guy's 19 still going to school, like,
right.
have someone by the school, a couple, like,
oh, no, he was out of school, but yeah.
Regardless, like, have someone by these places, like schools, like,
are you on
airports?
Are you on that side of things, like, hire the armed veterans or whatever?
It wouldn't hurt.
See, I disagree entirely.
It wouldn't hurt, dude.
Let me just run this scenario by you. Let's say we put 2 armed volunteer veterans in every school, right? Realistically, that means you got to hire like 4 to 6 at every school, do them in shifts or whatever because they're volunteers anyway. Where are you going to find 6, trained veterans, unemployed, plenty of unemployed veterans, don't get me wrong, but who are willing to work for free, donating their time, who also don't have PTSD and are like safe to work around children?
Yeah, it will be. I mean, you can retire. Like you're talking about military retired cops, so forth. Like, I think there's a lot of people.
I just think there's a lot of danger in putting more people with weapons in schools.
Yeah,
I just don't think that's the solution.
But if Nicholas Cruz is walking up to your kid's school, I'd rather have that armed military dude there than Nat be there.
See, here's my thing. I agree with that entirely. Mm-hmm. My argument is, I guess, like the opposing view of like Nicholas Cruz is walking up to schools, yeah, and it's often, yeah, it's almost once every 60 hours, I think is the stat right now, right? Yeah. It's often, but probably not as often as like some old like ex-military dude getting set off by some 15-year-old kid who's just a jackass. Yeah. And it's only a matter of time before they're shooting kids. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not gonna put like ex-military veterans across the country in all these schools and tell me no 14-year-old is setting off a dude with PTSD and a handgun by his side, and that's gonna go well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that works itself out.
That's what I mean. I'm with you. I'm willing to try it, but I just don't see that going well.
Yeah.
I don't see the implementation going well. I don't see where we get the money for it if we're going to pay them. If we're not going to pay them, I don't see where you get that many qualified volunteers.
Yeah, and eventually they're going to want to get paid.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I just think there's a lot of problems with that idea. I think it's great in theory. I don't see how that happens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we're probably not going to get this solution. I mean, you're on a podcast, but I do think there's people smarter than us who can come up with a multifaceted system in order to lower the rate on which kids are getting killed in school. And it's going to be a lot. People are going to have to give. The NRA is going to have to give up a little bit. The school districts are going to have to give a little bit as far as making systems in place that help these troubled kids, or at least, I mean, this is a failure in so many levels. It's a failure by the.
It's a societal failure across the board.
100% at every level, every aspect. And this could have been prevented, and it wasn't. And it could have been prevented in so many different areas. And it wasn't, and because that's 17.
And I guess that's my takeaway from this particular shooting is they trained for this. They did lockdown drills all the time. They did armed shooter drills. They had cops in the school. They reported it to the FBI. They reported it to the local police. Everything that all the people involved are supposed to do in the current system was done, and people are still dead.
Yeah.
I just want to see us do anything.
Yeah.
Because the feeling right now is hopelessness and helplessness, and like we can't do anything.
Yeah.
And the entire argument I hear in response to that so often is this idea that, well, laws don't do anything to criminals because criminals by definition break the law, right? This is insane. You know why I know this is insane? Because we're talking about school shootings.
Yeah.
We're talking about perpetrators who, by and large, are 21 and younger. How many 19-year-olds can even score like a decent weed connect? Yeah. How many 21-year-olds
can buy booze? They got steal it from their parents.
Exactly.
And shit like that.
You're gonna tell me somebody who can't even get booze for a party on the weekend knows how to procure a black market AR-15?
Yeah, exactly. And
get the fuck out of here.
And what kind of bad guys selling the kid?
That's what I mean. Like some 15-year-old with like clear bipolar and like anxiety disorders comes up like, oh my god, man, this girl wouldn't go on a date with me. I need a gun.
Yeah, it's
like nigga, I know all the sketchy people. I've sold drugs for a long time. All right, dude. Like I know people who wouldn't sell kids like Perks and Xanax. Yeah. You think he's selling them an AR-15? Yeah. Come on,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Give the black market some credit. Exactly. There's some scruples out here. Okay, they may be trading 16-year-old girls, but we're not selling 16-year-olds guns.
Yeah, I agree. I think at least start at like 21.
Yeah,
to get these guns.
I think you even if you get a gun at 18, there's like a young gun owners program. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where you get into it, and it's like your guns are kept at like a locked facility where you can go train with them until you're 21. So that when you're 21, you're proficient. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they do all sorts of shit like this in other countries. Yeah. People, the far right talks about Japan all the time as a great like symbol of national purity, a great economy, all these things. They're strict as hell with guns. Yeah. Everybody can get them. All you gotta do is prove you're proficient with guns, prove you're mentally stable, don't have a history of violence or criminality in your background. Yeah. Essentially, just make sure good guys are the ones with guns.
Yeah. There it is.
Food for thought. I mean, is there anything else we want to touch on this? side note about this. You catch the story about that white nationalist group who tried to claim Nicholas Cruz was like one of their guys for a hot second?
No.
So, long story short, like, story breaks, whatever, like, shooting happens. There's a white nationalist group down in Florida. I forget the name of the group. I wouldn't shout them out anyway. Like, claims that Nicholas Cruz, like, trained with their, like, militia for, like, the past, like, year and a half. And, like, had been, like, plotting this for a while.
Really?
Then, I think it was, like, 48, maybe 54 hours after, turns around and said, oh, our mistake. Must have been a different Nicholas. All I'll say to that, and everybody's confusion around that, and that story went away very quickly, just think about every time that there's a terrorist attack and ISIS claims he's ISIS until we prove it to somebody else, and then ISIS says, oh, our bad, our mistake. Yeah. And that obviously is a fear tactic to remind you that ISIS is out here and can strike you at any time. Yeah. And just as a reminder, there's white nationalist groups on American soil employing those exact same tactics. Yeah. So, in case you thought that, you know, the rise of the alt-right wasn't a real thing, there really is white nationalist militia groups training in Florida, getting ready to kill you. And so cavalierly so that they can claim it was them, then refute that, and nobody even looks into them.
Yeah. And there's some
food for thought.
There's some Vice documentaries and so forth online. You
Vice loves covering white nationalists. Yeah. It's a little like borderline fetishized. Like whoever's running Vice may be like a
they're a real threat to society, not just for minorities. It's for people in general, society in general. Things can go bad really quickly when it's idiots with guns.
Yeah, I mean that's my big takeaway. More guns doesn't seem to be helping the problem. Yeah, there's more guns now than there's ever been, and
there's more guns than there are people in the United States.
That is an actual fact.
Oh, by a large margin too.
Yes, it's just fucking dumb at this point. That being said, this shit continues. I said in 2017 I was going to get an FID card. 2018 I might actually do it. I hate guns. I'm vehemently anti-gun for myself. I don't want a gun. I'm a very emotional person. I don't need to be owning a weapon, and if I do, I want to keep it safe somewhere else that I can go play with it. Yeah. But like...
Things are getting real.
Things are getting real. I might at least want to own one somewhere safe to go play with it in case somebody comes trying to kill me.
You gotta get them before the government takes all your guns away.
Before Obama comes back into office and takes all of our guns.
He's a Muslim. He was born in Africa.
Right? Go back to Kenya, nigger. Fun fact, more guns sold in America under Obama than every presidency before him. That's a great transition to black shit. We want to end on happy things. Now we talk about angry white people for 30 minutes.
Let's make it
an avoided race. Go us.
Oh shit. Let's make it quick so we can. We're at an hour right now.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So. We'll get the fuck out of here then. Sorry for keeping y'all late. Black Panther's fucking dope, man.
Yeah, I agree.
I've never understood. We opened this saying like a lot of movies don't live up to the hype, and I guess that's my big thing is like I hate overhyping movies. Mm-hmm. Coming into this weekend, I guess I'll say this briefly. I really didn't want to see this movie with white people. And I don't say that to be racist. Mm-hmm. I just say that in like I'm not into Marvel movies, so I know you're a Marvel guy. Yeah. I don't know enough about the Marvel world to talk about Marvel shit. Mm-hmm. I don't know enough about like the characters or the backstory, and I don't care. Mm-hmm. I am only going to see this movie because like a bunch of people told me it was dope, and like whatever, fine, I'll go see it because all my friends are, and like it's that kind of thing to me. Mm-hmm. And then I went and saw it, and now I understand what all the hype is about. Yeah. It is truly a film about black excellence, and not in a power and dominance way, and an understanding that the world is about caring and about being kind and about finding love in your heart for everybody, not just your own, and this very holistic, I guess, and maybe this is me just centering it to myself here, in a very, like, mixed race like approach to blackness. Yeah. Very inclusive approach to blackness. Mm-hmm. A very female first approach to blackness. Yeah. Like everything about it is a lot of like my view on what I want to see the black community be, and maybe that's just me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I loved it start to finish. I loved that I hated Michael B. Jordan, even though I wanted to love Michael B. Jordan. I hated him, and then I loved him, and then I hate him again, and I fucking loved him. I cried when he killed him. Oh, word? Sorry, spoiler, in case everyone doesn't know he died. I cried in the theater. By myself. I saw the movie by myself. I was crying in the movie theater by myself.
Dude, man. Okay,
sad day.
Here's what I want to say to people who don't understand, especially like if you're not black and don't understand why this movie is important to the black community. It is because for years and top of years, the portrayal of African Americans has largely been in a negative form. There's been only a few, and we're talking about as late, strong black, especially heroic characters. But for the most part, when you see like a black person on screen, they're selling drugs, they're shooting, they're playing basketball or something like that.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, sir.
This one, to see a black superhero and to have that condition in your head, to see him alongside the Iron Mans, the Thors, it does something not just for like the community, but for like children perspective, to be like, yeah, like our culture is just as badass. And this is not just like for black people. It's for people in general. Like there should be, we should grow up. Kids should grow up seeing Indian superhero. They should Asian superheroes. Native American superheroes, because it is super impactful. Just the same way we get conditioned to think that like Pamela Anderson's hot as fuck, and then we move into Cindy Crawford, and then like and so forth. And there's only like a few like Tyra Banks and so forth in there. Like so, you get conditioned to see beauty in a certain way. You just do it on the other end. You get the condition to see heroes and masculinity and what's good and what's right a certain way. And when there's few examples of that being strong African American or strong minority, it does skew your perspective of what fills those categories.
So I think as somebody I didn't grow up on superheroes. You know what I mean? Like superheroes not part of my childhood. They're not like, none of that mystique was for me. So like, though that's all well and good for those kids, I think the thing that jumps out most about this was that I can't remember a time in any media. You say about all the negative depictions of black life, right? Almost all of those come either in the context of them relating to white life or in like some white area of the world. I have never seen a depiction of black excellence in a black dominated world. Yeah. Like this entire, like there's like 3 white people in the whole film. They're all bad guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and so it's not like a black versus white movie. It's a black versus other versus differences of opinions and philosophy. And so every time I'm seeing black people, I'm just rooting for the black guy. Yeah. Right? Because it's black versus whatever else is in this land.
And then there's white characters in there, and they're on both sides too.
Right. But this was like a dynamic blackness that I never get to see because that's always taken from us, right? Even in today's modern society, right? Like what did he just win a Golden Globe or whatever? He was in this actually, Sterling K. Brown. Yeah. Dude from This Is Us. Yeah. Amazing actor. Great portrayal of black dude. Great role, right? But here's what I'm saying. I see him in This Is Us, and I see him existing as this adopted outsider in white land, which I identify with in a lot of ways, right? But I don't get to see what does it look like for black people who don't just agree because we're black and we're trying to survive in this white land. What does it look like when we transcend the survival of outlasting like white supremacy? Yeah. When we actually have the resources to be great, what do we argue about? Where do we find common ground? What are the things that tie us together? And the thing I found fucking beautiful about this whole thing, the things that tie us together, at the takeaway of that whole advancement of everyone, not just our own, celebration of strong women and leadership and like embracing education and advancement. Yeah. And those were like the big things that I remember being raised on in that, the 50s, 60s era, that raised us, that Black Panther era, that civil rights era, that like, those were the things that would move the culture forward, and nobody talks about that shit anymore. Yeah. Now we talk a lot about representation. We talk a lot about opening up different avenues and all these different things. The best part of this whole movie to me, hands down, is that all of Wakanda hinges on the technical advancements of a teenage girl. Yeah. The brightest mind in the entire world is like a 17-year-old like super kid who is just in this fucking lab like changing everything about the world with vibranium. Yeah. That's so dope to me that like 9-year-old girls are gonna see that and be like, oh, she's not like a princess. You know what I mean? It's a warrior and a scientist are like the badass women of this society. It's not like a mom.
Yeah, it's even deeper than that, because if you look at it like that, on top of the fact that like this is written by Ryan Coogler.
The same dude directs all Michael B. Jordan's movies.
A guy from, I'm pretty sure he's from the Bay. I'm pretty sure he's from Oakland. Just a real dude, a smart dude. Like, and if you listen to his interviews, he talks just like us. Like, yo, like I saw him on the Hot 97, who just like talking about being in Africa and like, yo, they just like us, man. Like, and he talks like one of your boys. So like, when you compound that with the fact that he wrote and directed this, these strong characters, these intelligent characters, and then the fact that he directed and wrote this, and he just sounds like your boy. And that means that you can do that shit too. And you don't have to even be super smart. You can just be good at writing stories and portraying images and show your greatness through that.
I think one of the best parts of Michael B. Jordan's character, and I won't even, my African is not good enough to be butchering all these names, dog. But one of the shit that really like stood out to me was that he spoke like that, right? Yeah. He's mad Oakland. Yeah. The whole time. Yeah. No but doubt. he goes from like, nah, fuck that shit. I killed all these people, and I'm here to kill you now, right? Mm-hmm. To that very end moment where it's like he opens his eyes to that shit. He's still that same dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's still that Oakland nigga. Yeah, but he's like, nah, like, yo, I get it. Yeah. I still ain't going out like that. Like, let me pull out this spear and I'm dying. Yeah. I'm not going out like that.
But spoiler alert, I'm sorry.
Yeah, mad spoilers and this shit. But I'm saying, like, it still ain't going out like no bitch. You know what I mean? But, like, I don't know. It's just so dope to see, like, the different representations of blackness. Yeah. From, like, the elder statesman to, like, the patriarch who made wrong decisions to how to change the next generation while I don't know. The whole shit was dope.
It was dope.
The new block is here to stay, dog. I'm so excited.
It's emerging, man. And I gotta hurry up because I'm late, but I'm coming.
Yo, Ryan, you need to cast some niggas. You just let us know.
Dude, I'm telling you.
We in the gym. I'm pretty as fuck now.
Yeah,
my short dread game is way on point. Fuck Michael B. Jordan.
Yo, you really?
Michael B. Jordan really stole my whole swag from this movie.
I was thinking that too.
All jokes aside, like Mike, I need to check my nigga. I see you trying to beat me. Yo, my nigga took my profile picture and wore that shit to the casting.
He was like, yeah, I got it. I'm Gucci.
Yo, this nigga Mitch followed me. He's like the flyest dude I know, so I'm just trying to get like him. Maybe Ryan will have me for that Black Panther shit.
Yo, but man, I think we're reaching an area where minorities, especially Black excellence, is reaching this pinnacle where
shout out to Diddy.
Yeah, dude, 100 all across the board, man. And the thing is, like, they're embracing the Black vision, and we're getting a lot of opportunities to make it our own. It's going to be interesting. And if you're young and you're a minority, this is the time, because your voice is needed, and people are looking for that voice and that perspective.
And I'll also say, like, I never thought I would have said this maybe 7 years ago, even 10 years ago. But just, like, salute to Black consumers for picking good shit. Yeah. I feel like, we were, like, Black people have always, like, rode for Black shit when, like, asked to. Yeah. But we just asked niggas to ride for the wrong shit forever. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we was out here backing terrible content for, like, a while. Yeah. You know, even black content makers make fun of their own. Like, Chris Rock in his special, the Pootie Tang is like, you know how bad Pootie Tang looks 20 years, 30 years later? Yeah, but I love Pootie Tang. Don't get me wrong.
But there was a mix, because with the Pootie Tangs, there was still Coming to America, which is like the best fucking.
Oh, I agree, bro. Number one comedy. I guess what I'm saying is, like, the era I came up in 15 years ago, niggas told me Pootie Tang was hilarious, and that Coming to America was like trash.
Oh, no, you hanging on.
No, I agree. No, I grew up and, like, found out for myself, but I'm saying, like, that was like a real general, like, opinion for a long time. Yeah. It was like, Coming to America, it was that era of, like, you make me think too hard comedy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And Pootie Tang was like, nah, I just want to laugh. Yeah. And I was like, I'm glad we passed that. I'm glad we're on to real good content now.
Yeah. Camera's blinking weird, so
we're an hour 20 anyway.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. No,
you got anything else on Black Panther besides all the dick slurping we just did of this entire cast?
No, I just think that,
vagina licking, I guess, because there's a bunch of wonderful women in that.
I think this is an emergence of just like great content from people, of multifaceted people. This is the beginning. It's going to keep growing. You see other people like from Insecure. You see Donald Glover. You see Get Your Ideals Out Now. Put pen to paper. Get your ideals out, man. Keep grinding. Shout out to them.
Speaking of Issa Rae, just real quick, content recommendations for people. Fruit. Have you listened to Fruit, the podcast?
No.
Fantastic. Right. It's about a pro football player. It's a true story who is like gay on the low and like discovers he's gay while he's in the league. And like the first season ends with like some teammate of his like killing himself and like leaving like a list of names with his on it. Wow. Yeah, and season 2 is on Stitcher Premium, which I haven't paid for yet, but I'm about to. If you pay for Stitcher Premium, also subscribe to the Late to Work podcast. And one day Stitcher Premium will give us some ads, so that when you pay for Stitcher Premium, it'll be ad free. That's about all I had.
Yeah, we had hour 20 anyway. Right. So
top 5? You want to do top 5s?
Yeah, we can.
You said you don't watch the Olympics.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do a top 5 favorite things about the Winter Olympics. You don't watch Olympics at all, or just Winter Olympics you don't watch?
I don't watch really much of the Olympics. There's like a popular character on there, like a track person, or like I'll watch some of the like soccer shit, but like I just don't care. I don't watch.
That hurts in my soul, dog.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
I'm grossly nationalist. You know me.
Yeah, I know.
I'm riding for Wakanda and America now, but like
I just can't get into like figure skating. Or
I agree. That shit's trash.
Curling, no. Curling, no. Why? I don't.
Oh, curling's great. It's like bar shuffleboard on ice.
Yeah, no. I got shit to do.
Fair enough.
There's not enough time, man. I got shit to do, man. No, I just now have zero interest in it. I'll watch ESPN and see what's going on. Something dope happens. But I just don't. I don't care.
All right. Well, we're skipping our top 5 this week because Chris doesn't care about his country. I will say some reasons you should watch the wonderful Winter Olympics. Right. America's trash, so if you hate America in its current state, like, we are cleaned up by every other country. So it's pretty funny to see us be mediocre at anything because we're so great at everything else. Yeah. American women hockey, great to watch. Lots of insane talent. Since the NHL didn't send the men, our women's hockey is a great watch. They played Canada the other night. We're playing them again for the gold medal shortly. By the looks of things anyway. That was like one of the hardest hitting hockey games I ever watched. Like, bitches getting fucked up all over the place. It was dope. Norwegian curling team, fire pants game. That's all I'm going to say. Google it. There'll be gifts. You're welcome. Also in curling, apparently you can double fist beers at 9 a.m. That's also a thing. Salute to Canada. And I don't know why U.S. American snowboarders suck this year.
I know nothing about it.
Well, we won every gold medal at the Sochi in snowboarding and then didn't even podium in like 3 different events this year. So there you go. Anyway, go check out the Olympics. Support your country. Or don't and support Wakanda. Either way, we still fuck with you. As always, this has been Late Work Podcast. This is episode 26. Happy to be back with y'all after the week off. Look for us, as usual, every Thursday. iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast. You can find me on all your social media at Mitch Gaines. Holla at my boy over here at Only Chris Allen. You got dates coming up? You got shit people got to come up to see?
I tried to look for my dates this while before you got here, and I couldn't find them. I'm somewhere in Foxborough this Saturday. I will get the day. I'll post it online. Yeah, some
Patriot Place?
I don't think it's Patriots.
Oh, because CBS Students closed.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But yeah, I'll put the date on my Facebook. Just follow me at Chris Thomas.
If anyone wants to intern for us, all it requires is 3 hours a week of managing Chris's schedule and then writing out a list of dates for him to read on the air. It's a really easy job. I swear to God, we'll give you course credit.
Yeah.
Holler at us.
Holler, please.
Don't be a dickhead.
Don't be a dick. Peace.
I had to make the shit right. Came from nothing. I got it straight out the dirt. 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 I got it straight out the dirt.
My granddaddy helped build the Carquinez Bridge. Gave my grandmama 11 kids. A gallon of milk and some eggs in the fridge. A pack of top ramen, some bread and some grits. I got it straight out the dirt. The dust. Checking more cash in the clerk. That's us. Play with me, you will get hurt.